Okay, Matt, you're all set.
Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. I have 6:01. And what I'm going to do, unfortunately, I don't have the flag on my desktop, but I'd ask everybody, wherever they are, to rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United
States of America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty and justice
for
for
all.
all.
All right, thank you. I know that's a little echoey as we do it on there. Let me just pull up my script here for the, hold on, get it right here. Okay. Everybody can still hear me, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So as chairman of the Board of Selectmen for the town of Newton, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to executive order 2020-4, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe or listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are utilizing Zoom conference call for the electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access contemporaneously to listen and, if necessary, participate in the meeting through dialing the following phone number: 929-205-6099. Meeting ID numbers 869-075-36632, or use the link provided in the agenda, posted agenda. We previously gave the notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the conference call via phone. If anyone has a problem, please email bossecretary@newtonnh.net. In the event that the public is unable to access the meeting, then the board will decide whether to adjourn and or reschedule. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. So I believe we have all 5 members on the call currently, right?
The only one I'm not sure is if Kate is on.
Okay, Kate just texted me something, but I'm using my phone right now, so I'm zooming.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Kate is here. Kate is
Yeah.
here.
I don't know why it's not showing me, but I'm here.
Okay,
I'll get on video shortly.
sounds good.
It shows you as iPhone.
Not sure why. Oh, there it goes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I believe we are not doing a non-public to start the meeting tonight. We have a non-public for later on tonight. So I think we're going to start with, and I'm just pulling up the agenda right now. I believe we have a resident.
Well, he's a business owner.
Sorry, who wants to be heard on a subject. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to the resident. I'd just like to, sort of remind everybody that we do have the ability to call a non-public as a board. If any of the members determine that the 91A requirements exist, they can call for a non-public, and then we can always go into non-public. But we are giving the business owner the opportunity to talk now. If any members of the board deem that the circumstances apply for a non-public, then please, call it out. But I believe it's Justin.
Correct.
My name is Attorney Keith Matthews, and I represent Justin Prakasimer with relation to this issue. I've got a couple of concerns here, and I'm sure you're aware. Mr. Prakasimer just recently purchased the old fire station from the town. And since his purchase, there's been a couple of issues that we need to remedy. I think the easiest way to do this would probably be to have the town attorney contact me, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention quickly and see if we can't remedy at least one of the issues on this meeting. The primary issue of course, is that the inspector came in and listed a litany of issues with the property that it seemed to be that the place was condemned previously or abandoned previously, not a conversation that had occurred during the purchase. Obviously, we're taking a look at that, and I'd probably talk to the town attorney about that before you guys, but that's an issue that we're raising, and it's a problem. But for the more urgent matter is that the inspector has required my client to remedy these issues, or come up with a plan to remedy these issues by the 21st of the month, which is next week, in terms of how he's going to work through these things. Now, obviously, if I'm in a discussion with the town attorney, that timeline is very tight and problematic, considering my client purchased the property with intention to run a business there, and that business was approved as part of the purchase and sale agreement. And really, the purchase and sale agreement is contingent on his ability to run the business there. Now, obviously, I don't want to get into the legal issues involved here. I don't think it's really necessary and really productive, frankly. And we're in a bit of an odd circumstance, which is that the town is both the organization that sold the property and or presented the purchase and sale agreement, but is also the entity who we have to discuss these issues with. So I think as a preliminary matter, we're going to request an extension to the inspection if you individuals are the people that I need to talk to about that, or at least figure out who I would need to speak to in order to get that extension granted, so that at least my client can work through the property until I can deal with this issue with the town attorney. It's a bunch of things that are kind of going on here, including the fact that apparently the fire station's issues were public on a YouTube account my client was informed of earlier this week. So it's an evolving matter, and I obviously don't want to escalate it during this call, but there's a bunch of concerns here related to the way that this property was sold, and now related to the part of the what the inspector has told my client about the property, particularly that had been condemned previously. Now, obviously, that's not a property that he can run that business in, at least effectively. So I think we need to work through some of these preliminary issues, at least for now, and then I can talk to the town attorney about everything else, and I give you my contact information to do that.
Yeah, I would just a couple of quick things. One is I'm not so sure that's correct that it's condemned property. We can put that issue aside. I think there are two entities here we need you to talk to sort of well before town council would get involved, but I assume your client has spoken to the planning board.
I don't believe so yet.
I think you might be on mute.
He is, yes. Justin?
Yes, I have spoken to the planning board.
Okay, so the planning board is a different board than this board. It's a duly elected board. So that's a matter you'd want to, if there's any issues with them, you should talk to them. The second one, though, is code enforcement, which I believe, and let's try not to get into any details here, but our code enforcement officer is on the phone, and I'm wondering if he can talk to us a little bit about that December 21st deadline and the reasoning behind it. So Shanti Wolf is our code enforcement person. I think I saw him on the Zoom call.
Yeah, I'm here, Matt. Good evening, all. My name is Shanti Wolf. I'm the building inspector and the code enforcement officer. So we did conduct an inspection with the end goal of issuing a business occupancy permit for Mr. Proxima. The fire chief and myself attended that inspection. And we found, as you mentioned, a host of issues that would be problematic with issuing said business occupancy permit. You know, there was a date that I came up with, not for full compliance, because I realized that would be unrealistic. And so simply came up with a date, you know, of at least 2 weeks, a minimum of 2 weeks, you know, that the applicant would have a chance to come up with a plan, an action plan. And then during the course of those 2 weeks, I feel that, you know, the chief and myself had certainly used some discretion and some, not necessarily leniency, but that we did use discretion with understanding that he is using the building currently. And, whether or not he's using it without an occupancy permit, which is certainly a condition of planning board approval and would be a condition of the state fire code, the state building code. But we, like I said, we did use some discretion there and allowing him to continue doing what he's doing. And I think kind of an off the record or on the record conversation that transpired between Justin and myself was not to use the second floor as a business occupancy, with concern that there's no fire separation currently in place between the vehicle bay and the second floor. And also not opening the building up to the public. In other words, we're open, come on in, because there are, code requirements, life safety issues, existing building or not, that would need to be corrected before that could happen. So that's why we really wanted to come up with a plan. Once he kind of wrapped his head around what needed to happen. And there are certainly, some solutions or some possibilities that would allow Justin to keep making money and operating. Would have to be approved, I think, by the fire chief and possibly the board of selectmen. One option would be to, just officially close the building to the public, which would include signs posted on the doors. Any and all transactions take place outdoors, just because the building, from my perspective and from a code perspective, is not necessarily safe, and it doesn't have a business occupancy permit in place. I think the second solution is number one and number two would be to close the second floor of the building. It's not to be used without 2-hour fire separation from the first floor. And then, Justin also indicated during our last meeting that he currently wouldn't have any employees there. It would just be him working, as he has a wife and children, and he needs a way to support them. And that was the sole purpose and intent of buying this property. So I understood that. And if he's not going to have any employees in there, it's just going to be him, private garage. Perhaps, the board and the fire chief would allow him to move forward as long as items number 1 and 2 were in force. And then the last item would be, absolutely no spray painting. That's a big deal. No spray painting indoors. That's an explosion hazard. There's a specific criteria that needs to be met for spray painting indoors, whether it's just touch-ups and spot painting, or whether or not it's painting an entire vehicle. There's a spray booth criteria for that has to be met as well. So there's certainly an option, like I said, with the fire chief's approval and board of selectmen's approval, to allow him to work and make money, but just close that building to the public and not to use that second floor at all. Because if there was a fire and explosion on the first floor, we don't have that 2-hour separation that would allow the occupants to get to safety, or allow the fire department to get there and get them out of that building in time, according to the fire codes and the building codes. So the planning board, and we won't go too deep into the weeds here, but the planning board, their authority ends with the approval of the use. Their, the site plan, the parking, what type of business will be, in operation within that particular zone. That was the planning board approval. Now on the planning board, notice of decision, the different criteria that would have to be met. I believe that, item number 1 is obtain all local and state permits. So, it is unfortunate that that wasn't the first step, just to come right to us, possibly even buying the building, or setting up shop, obtain all state local permits. And one of the local permits, of course, would be a business occupancy permit, which still hasn't been issued. I do feel for the business owner, and it's certainly not my intent to signal anyone out and not allow them to continue on with their livelihood that supports their family. That couldn't be further from my position. I've been hired by the town simply to interpret and administer the code, and that's what I've done. And I felt that I did it in a fair manner and didn't treat this business owner any different than any of the other businesses that we work with, that I work with for Newton. So,
So to me,
I guess I don't. I'm sorry.
If I could just cut to the chase a little bit here. To me, it sounds like there's a remediation plan on the table. It sounds like code is talking with the business owner. And I'm wondering, is it at this point is December 21st just the issue? Is there a way we can extend the deadline if everybody here is in agreement?
I think that for the moment, obviously the deadline of December 21st being next week at this time is a concern. Obviously, I have other concerns that I'm happy to talk to the town attorney about. I think that there's two parts of this conversation. I do appreciate the discussion about the code enforcement. It was helpful to kind of guide me in where you were, and I don't think that there's any question as to whether or not the review that you made of the building is at least mostly accurate. My understanding is that the property was abandoned. I guess maybe condemned is not the best word in this situation, but I think we have a couple of issues. One is that, and then the other one is that the town sold the building. And so we're trying to figure out what to do about both of those situations simultaneously. Obviously, it would decrease the amount that my client suffers a hardship as a result of this confusion if we could extend that deadline, at least a week or two, so that we could figure out what exactly we're doing, and I could talk to the relevant people that we need to talk to. I don't think there's any issue with anyone else being in the building, and there's certainly no issue with employees or anything like that. He just needs to continue to use it for the purposes that he intends to use it for, at least during the time frame of the next few weeks. And obviously with the holidays and everything else, it's going to make it difficult to have these discussions, and certainly difficult for me to remedy any issues that may or may not arise, coming this close to the holiday. I'm not intending to work a full week next week, and I hope none of us are. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. So an extension would be helpful.
So Shanti, it sounds like somebody's trying to speak up there. Is there?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Fire Chief.
Fire Chief, go ahead.
Good evening. Under my half, I agree fully with the building inspector. If the business owner would put something in writing, especially on the majority is fire codes, before, my opinion, the town goes any further, I would be concerned on who's liable if something happens. The biggest issue that the fire department has under the fire code is the spray painting, especially with the daycare next door. There's a whole big thing that goes with the state and other agencies on spray painting. There would have to be, if the board so chooses, to extend the date. The date is not in stone that the work had to be done. There has to be a date in stone with a plan to move on. And the only reason I'm saying that, there is another business that went through close to the same situation that this particular business owner is in, down the street. They were required to comply with all codes. They had a deadline. They came in front of code compliance with recommendations on how they were going to do the repairs to the building, and it was approved. there was no dates moved from my half until we knew exactly what the game plan was. As we're having this conversation today, again, I'm not sure if the business owner's even in the building. I'm not sure if there's the public in the building. I have no idea if there's spray painting in the building. For some reason, businesses are allowed to open in the town before code compliance can do their job.
My client is the only person
I'm
in
all
the
set.
building right now.
Thank you,
I will,
Chief.
I will also say that his daughter attends that daycare, so there's no intention to endanger that establishment. There would be, his concern about the risk is substantial, obviously. In terms of the picture, I think there's an issue that arises, and I don't think that this is a normal business owner situation. And again, I probably have to talk to the town attorney about this. The fact that the town sold this building and now we're dealing with these issues that were unknown is really the problem. And I think to some extent,
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you there, counsel, because you know, if we're gonna litigate this thing, let's not.
yeah, that's what I said. We'll talk to the town attorney
You know
about
what
that.
I'm saying? Because you've characterized the property as condemned, which it is not. You characterized it as abandoned, which it was not. It was unoccupied property. So I think basically what we need here is to see if, and I'm asking Shanti, this wouldn't be the first time that somebody, and especially like the council says, it's around the holidays. Can Shanti and the chief agree that we can give them a little bit of an extension to work on the remediation? And, you know, we've done that for any business owner in the town when we feel the business owner is working to remediate. I don't think anybody on the board, they can speak up, would have an issue with an extension.
Matt,
So go ahead, Mr. Melvin.
my feeling is that he can get an extension, but he should not be operating. Because once we let him operate, now we got a fight on our hands, and we don't need that. I'm done.
So the only thing I would add to that is if the applicant came to us and said, I want a wrench on my vehicles in that garage. I don't want to use the second floor. I'm not spray painting. I'm not using torches. I'm not using welding equipment. I'm not sure in good faith how this town could deny him that, because his use is very specific in that building currently under a certain square footage. The use upstairs is the same as the use downstairs, which is it's not being used. So that fire rips through that roof system. Nobody's up there. Just think of it as a roof system. I mean, it's severely limiting his use, the applicant's use is what I'm saying. In other words, to do exactly what the fire chief just talked about was putting it in writing. So the liability is off me as the building inspector, the chief as the fire department, not saying that we're overlooking code violations. We're saying that the use now fits the building, and the use will be wrenching on vehicles. And so you don't need a fire alarm system in a building that size. You don't need it. There's no mixed use anymore. There's zero public. It's a private garage at this point in the short term, right? So there would be very specific on the use that he would be performing. You know, I certainly can't see, because in other words, if you're not going to allow the man to operate, then he doesn't even need an extension. He's essentially walking away from the building and he's not even using it. So at that point, what does he need an extension for? He's not even using it. So he fails to come to give us a plan by the date, and we say, okay, the building is shut down, you can't use it. Well, that's what we're saying anyway, if we don't allow him to continue to use the building in a limited capacity. And that's what I would propose, very limited capacity, in writing, signed by the occupant. You know, I'd be okay with that. And we're not extending, we're not certainly saying this is it. We're talking about a date perhaps provided by the applicant and Attorney Matthews that's after New Year's, middle of January. By then, possibly some of the other issues can be litigated. And I think that's probably a larger concern here is does the applicant want to commit to $50,000, $60,000 when we're still you guys might be in litigation. I have no idea, but I'm okay with extending the date with a limited use. And I want to add one last thing that, that Attorney Matthews had mentioned, which was in my report, the report based on the inspection that the fire chief and myself performed. I do say in black and white that the building located at 35 South Main Street was constructed in 1953. The occupancy classification was a municipal firehouse department and was used as such for decades. Due to many factors, the town eventually abandoned the use and put the property on the market. Now, the abandoned, obviously, we have many interpretations and quite a few definitions of abandoned. That's interpretive. And my intent, just to be clear right now, on record, is abandoned. In other words, they no longer had any use for it due to whatever. It was too small. Maybe they realized at that point in time, from 1953 to 2000, whatever, when they left that building, they weren't going to be able to get it to a point where it would be acceptable for them. So they abandoned it, whatever that means. But it was never, from my understanding, it wasn't condoned or condemned. It was never boarded up and they were told to leave. But that's a bit before my time. So those are my thoughts.
Mine as well. So yeah, I think that would be what we would be requesting is an extension, but with a limited use at this
Chairman, may I
moment.
speak?
I hear you, Lisa.
Lisa,
All right,
Matt got lost. Hold on. You can go ahead and let me get him
Okay.
back in, please.
Yep, I just wanted to say, I have full faith in our building inspector, and I have no issues with his recommendations. I'm all for encouraging businesses in the town, so I would be in favor of extending the deadline for coming up with a remediation plan. As far as when the town left that building as a firehouse, that has all been public many times when we went to the new fire department building that we are now located in. So the townspeople approved us building a new fire station, which is why we no longer used that building as such.
All right, hi, this is Matt. Sorry about that internet issue. Hopefully I didn't miss too much, but sorry about that. So it kind of sounds like we're having discussion around extending the opportunity to remediate.
Yeah, and Lisa, you took the words out of my mouth. So I'm in alignment with that position. I trust the building inspector completely.
Okay, so Shanti, what do you need from us?
So I think that that possibly we use the existing deadline for the applicant to provide us with a limited use agreement. And Attorney Matthews, you think that's something that can take place prior to that deadline?
Yeah, I think it would be as long as the town attorney contacts me. That's not a problem at all.
Right, and I know that Chief Alcadino has just as much authority and maybe even more than I do on this issue. I think it's important that the chief is in alignment with this decision as well. Chief?
Yep, for my half, the original deadline was the 21st. As long as there's something in writing, as I stated, that has a plan to move forward, especially taking all liability off of the town of Newton, the building department and fire department. In the meantime, I'm fine with it, bringing it down so the owner can work on his vehicles, no spray painting, no public, no second floor. I do not have a problem with that. The man has to work.
Yeah, so I think,
Thank you.
is it common practice, Shanti and the fire chief, to put this in writing and send that to the business owner?
In other words, are you asking if I can draft the language for this limited use agreement and liability waiver from the town and then present that for signature to the applicant and Attorney Matthews?
Yeah, that's in a nutshell.
I can do that.
Okay.
That way the ball's in our court. I'll make sure that you get it. I'll put it together this Thursday when I'm in the office, and then I'll fire it off to the board and Chief Alcadino and to the applicant.
So everyone on the board does that sound like the plan to go forward? Everybody?
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Fire Chief, go ahead.
I just have a quick question. Since I'm going to be one of them signing, that now we're going to limit what this property owner can do. Does that do anything with what the planning board voted on? Because the planning board voted to allow him to do 3 different type things, and now we're cutting him down to 1. I don't want to step on the planning board's toes of what I'm trying to get at.
So if I may, I can answer that. So what the planning board approved is a group of uses very specific to that property. Now, if you choose not to utilize the full number of uses that were granted, you're certainly not in violation of anything. So in other words, the fact that that building will not support his uses is of no consequence to the decision that the planning board made. But if we were adding uses that expanded the non-residential portion of that property, he'd need to go back to the planning board. We're reducing the non-residential uses for that property. So, planning board's decision, and that stands. Eventually, hopefully, he'll be able to get up to all the uses that were approved. But in the meantime, we are just limiting those. No need to go back to the planning board.
I'm happy, thank you.
And we do have the planning board chair on the line if he has any concerns around the fire chief's question. Does that make sense, Roger?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, at this point, the planning board approved the use subject to them getting the local permit that they need, and whatever they have to do that is, the planning board will have no problem with what I've heard tonight.
All right, thank you. All right, any other existing concerns with this subject?
No, I would reiterate, I've said it several times, if you guys could have the town attorney contact me, it would be beneficial, I think, to resolving all of these issues as well. I can give you my phone number if someone wants to write it down. So
I think, Counselor, we can give you the name of our town attorney. If there's some concern you have, we'll let you contact him. He's in the book, Sumner Kalman. I don't have his number handy, but
Kalman.
M-A-L-M, Kalman, K-A-L-M-A-N.
Great, thank you. Yeah. I can find him. Thank you.
Perfect.
I appreciate all of your time.
No problem. Thank you, gentlemen. So if that's it on this subject, we're going to roll on down the agenda. And obviously, anybody who came on just for this subject, as always, if you need to drop off the line, we appreciate you coming on, and we won't take it personally. You don't want to stay for our whole meeting.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you. All right, I'm just pulling up my agenda again. It's slow to come up tonight. Okay, so it looks like we have an EOC update. Larry or anybody, do you want to give us a quick EOC update?
I think Trish had it, and she had it for 7 o'clock. I didn't know we switched the times around.
No problem. We can always catch her up once we know she's on the call. So I guess we go to the budget items, and I think we just have a fire department update. If the fire chief is still on, is there anything? I know we talked about this last time, and he was working on some stuff.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
All I did was followed the board's recommendation and revised the budget so we are level funded for 2021.
All right. Does anybody on the board have any questions around that? For those on the call, we were provided these ahead of time, so.
Yeah, I took a look at the revised or draft 2 version of the proposed budget, and I'm okay with it.
Now, I believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the language of the motion from last week, did we have a qualifier on our motion from last week, or do we need to still make a motion to submit this to the draft overall?
We need a motion. We did not accept it for the draft at the last time it was presented.
All right, so anybody want to do so?
I move to accept the draft 2 version of the proposed 2021 fire department budget into the draft town budget.
Second.
Second. Hey, we're same time, Katie.
Yeah, that was like the 4 ties.
Yeah.
So let's give it to Kate. So Kate's the second, and any discussion? Okay, we're gonna roll call vote. So Lisa.
Aye.
Kate.
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye.
Larry.
Aye.
Matt's an aye, so that's unanimous. Okay. So Fire Chief, if you want to stick around, you're welcome, but otherwise we thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you,
Thanks.
board.
All right, so we're moving on down. It looks like other gen government.
Matt, I think Chief Jewett is on the line.
Oh, for the
Police. Chief
I did-
Jewett, is that you?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay. You
do
want to
we
do?
wanna
Yep.
skip on down there? Okay, so why don't we do that since we have you on, Chief Jewett. Do you want to talk a little bit about your proposed budget?
Sure. Good evening, board. What you should have in front of you is the 2021 proposed budget for the police department. Trying to stay conservative with the numbers from previous years. There is an increase in the budget this year. I can go over any of the line items anyone has questions on to why there was an increase, and hopefully answer the questions that you may have. I'm not sure if you want to open that to any questions or.
Yeah, I think what I'm looking for is I'm in the budget folder. I'd like to share this budget on the screen just so people can see it. It's in the proposed, right? So 2021 proposed, let me just go down to PD, go in Excel. I think most of us have it on our screen, but just
Mr. Chair, if it's helpful, I mean, I can go down. There's only I believe 5 items that I went up on. I can just hit on those quickly if that helps.
yeah, that's a good idea, Chief. Thank you.
So on the first one, going down on the first page of the proposed budget for 2021, radio, under line item 4210312, we've previously 2020 we budgeted $2,500. I've increased that by $500 with the purpose of purchasing a new handheld radio next year. So the $500 increase would give me enough money to buy a handheld radio. The next increases are going to be under salary. The animal control officer, the full-time officers and part-time officers' salary went up. It was $19,830 under the full-time officers, and that included, step increase, which I think we're going to go over that tonight as well. I also increased the salary overtime. In 2020 and many years prior to that, we've always budgeted $20,000. I've increased that by $5,000 just to help with coverage, shift coverage that we've kept thin for the last many years for coverage and training. So that would help on that. The salary for the part-time officers going up $875. And then lastly, under uniform, under 4210318, I've increased that by $3,000 with the expectations of buying new jackets and equipment for the officers next year, which gave me an increase of $44,009. Actually, there's one more. My apologies. There was a vehicle lease that was added in there as well for $15,500. So altogether, that gives me an increase of $44,972. With that being said, $25,972 of that is under payroll.
Hey, Chief, I have a question for you.
Sure.
All right, so the vehicle that will be replaced by the new cruiser, can you give us details such as year, mileage, et cetera?
That's one of our older vehicles. It's a Chevy Impala. It's car 5. I believe last check on the mileage, and I don't have it in front of me, we were pushing a little over 130. It's got some defects that are in there. The equipment in it is getting old. Say for easy math, even if the vehicle had 100,000 miles on it, it's not like a regular car that, you or I may drive back and forth to work. These vehicles sit and idle for, an 8-hour shift. They may idle for half of that shift or more. Some days that car may go out and run 3 shifts. So the hours on there are, incredible, the amount of hours. That particular vehicle does not have an hour meter on it. The newer ones did. If you guys want to take a pause, I can run out and grab all that information if we need it. I'm at the PD now, so I can grab that. But yeah, car 5 would be one of the highest mileage cars that we have. My apologies for not having that information the year of it.
Lisa, are you okay if we send it to you later?
Yeah, that's fine. I had a feeling it was a older vehicle with mileage, so I just wanted him to be able to put it out into the public, the reasoning behind a new cruiser.
Sure, we can add that to the minutes, right, Nancy and Diane?
Can I ask what year it is?
If you want to give me a 30-second pause.
No, that's all right. That's all right. If you don't have it in front of you, that's fine.
I don't have it in front of me, no.
So, Chief, when you have a free moment, email it around, and they'll make sure it's in the minutes for the public.
Sure, I'll do that. I'll send that over to Nancy before I leave tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the board, any other questions?
Mike, Charlie.
Hi.
Mike, I haven't seen anything in here for maybe increasing your force, meaning some more part-time officers or another full-time officer. If you need one or anything else like that, I don't see anything in there for that.
And that's something that I'd be more than happy to discuss with the board if you guys want to discuss that later, and I can redo this. There is, if you look at the line item for salary full-time, I did increase that, included in the $19,830. There is a 20% increase on there for a school resource officer. That was built in there with the school district paying 80% and us paying the 20%. But as far as adding more full-time officers or part-time officers, that's something I'm 100% open to speak to the board, and we can draft that or talk about that anytime.
Well, aren't you in a position where you're having trouble filling shifts?
I have been for a while, correct.
So this is probably something we should be looking at now, don't you think?
Yeah, I think what the chief's trying to say, and it makes sense to me, and Charlie, I'm right there with you, is if you pick up any newspaper, it's tough to get officers these days, and the officers you have, you're usually spread thin. So I think the board is supportive, Chief, of discussions around this, whether it be if we have to do something about hourly or, well, regular salaries increasing or something like that, or we need to give you more heads. But I think I agree with the chief. He's talking about more of a non-public HR type meeting. Is that what you're saying, Chief?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
No, it's you're right, Charlie. I think we're all kind of thinking that way. And again, remember, I say this every meeting, this is a proposed draft budget, so we still have time, right, to play with the numbers. So.
Well, I just know from a fact myself that, he's been having trouble filling shifts.
Right.
And he's been taking the shifts himself and everything else, and he doesn't get any extra for that. But what he needs officers.
Yep. And I
definitely appreciate the support on that.
Yeah, and I think I speak for the whole board when we definitely need to support you on that. And the details we just need to discuss. Anybody else for the chief? Questions?
As long as it don't go by the wayside, Matt, that's all.
Oh, no. Well.
I know he mentioned, but again, I guess I figured that 19,000 increase under salary, was that just because of Matrix or potentially increasing hours?
It's for an SRO school resource officer.
Thank you. Okay, good. So it isn't.
Okay, it's Matrix and the SRO as well.
Okay, thanks.
So I'd like to move to accept the proposed 2021 police department budget into the town draft budget.
Okay.
Right. Any discussion?
Aye.
So Kate jumped the gun there. So roll call vote, Kate's and I.
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Matt's and I. So, Chief, I think we should dock it for the next meeting, whenever that is, because I think we'll end up having another one because of year-end stuff. We need to, have a discussion around manpower.
And I can put something together for that meeting.
Yeah, great. So work with Nancy and Diane when she's not on vacation to put that on the docket. So, all right. Anything else for us, Chief, tonight?
We do. I'm not sure if you should have it. I have the step increases. I know that I did all the sheets on it. There should have been basically a ledger to go with it, with all the step increases for full-time and part-time. I'm not sure if you guys have that individually or the whole sheet.
Yeah, I don't have that on the agenda.
It's on the, yeah.
Okay.
It's in non-public.
It's in non-public tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's employee review, so it's in non-public.
When did that get on the non-public? There should only be one thing on non-public tonight.
Well, if we're not meeting again till the end of the year, these are things that have to be done tonight.
Right, I'm just wondering what happened, because this is the first I'm hearing of it, but obviously, I mean, we're doing the non-public after this meeting.
Right.
Because it's the people who are hanging around anyway.
Right.
If we need the chief for non-public, we should have started at 6, right? So, all right, Chief, do you mind calling back in later on?
No, I can do that. If someone just wants to let me know what time is good, then I'll call back in.
All right, I don't think we know yet. So I'll text you.
Okay.
I'll text you and let you know.
That works. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. See ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, so Do we want to continue on with the budgets, or I see Trish is on? Do we want to give Trish her shot, or what do we want to do?
I think the other two will be fairly quick, so we should just get them out of the way.
Sounds
Keep
good to
them
me.
all together.
So other general government, is that Nancy?
Other general government is health insurance, unemployment, workers' comp, property liability, and accidental health. And it's also the other, what do you call it?
Warrant article items.
Yeah, they're not bonding, but they're debt obligations. So it would be for the fire pumper, the fire truck lease, the fire rescue station. That was a bond. And then the one, I think we have maybe 2 more payments on the police station. So this is all contractual.
So I'm just going to go ahead and move to accept the other general government proposed budget into the town proposed budget.
I'll second that.
I don't have a total because they all have their own total line, but
Right.
we'll include all of them.
Right, so if there's no discussion.
I mean, just for the record, I will state that while the insurances have gone up a little bit, each of our debt obligations have gone down a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the proper direction. Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote. Lisa?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that's unanimous. So I believe the next one is health officer budget.
Yep, this is the same as 2020. As you can see, he hasn't spent much because we haven't been in the building. We haven't been out in the field. He's dealing with, Mr. Leverone is dealing with a lot of the things on the phone, pictures and whatever, so not to be out in the public. But we want to keep the 2,500 going for next year, when we think it'll get busy again.
So if he's doing his work by phone, that's still time spent on town business.
Well, I asked him if he wanted to put in for any of his expenses or supplies, and he said no.
Well, that's
Not-
very generous of him.
Yeah, not for this year.
So I will move to accept the 2021 proposed health officer budget into the town draft budget.
Second.
So seconded by Charlie. I do have a discussion. So let me understand this. So the payroll is, and this is always contrary to what I understand, but so we have not spent 2,300. We have spent 0 in payroll this year.
No, he gets
134.
He gets paid by fees, and that comes
Right.
out of the revolving account with the building inspector and road agent. You know, all the monies that we get go into the fees for the permits, and that goes into that. And then he gets reimbursed the fees.
So when it says payroll, it says payroll health officer, $2,300. So we're not writing him a check.
No, that was additional because he thought he would have to buy, for his phone use or his supplies for, the files and all of that stuff. And he said he's dealt with things on the phone, so there's not been a lot of paperwork transactions and things that he wanted to get reimbursed for.
So that's why I kind of have a problem carrying 2,300 forward.
Matt?
This is in Larry, I'll let you jump here in a minute. this is my issue with the, we're just gonna do this to do it, and we're not looking at what we actually spent. But Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, I know that's inaccurate because I know I bother him at least 2 or 3 times a week for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. And
Sure.
I'm sure Trish can comment on this too. He's probably not taking his money because he doesn't feel like a phone call deserves it, but
Right.
we should probably pay him somehow. I don't know.
Matt, Mr. Chairman?
Trish, go ahead.
Yeah, so again, I agree with Larry, but, and I understand what Nancy's saying, but I can tell you without having my, oh, thank you, Lisa. Without having my stuff in front of me, I know we've paid him out from the EOC at least $300. I want to say one was 75, there was another 150. I think it was a total of 300. So Nancy, is he getting that a different way, even though I'm
Yes.
getting his payroll?
Yeah.
That you'd have to talk with Kim. I don't deal with that.
All right.
I'm just going, this was his expense budget, not payroll budget.
Okay.
This was for office supplies and.
But it says
does-
payroll.
It does say payroll, but that if he, he used to take a lot of phone calls where he'd be on the phone for like an hour. And
Yep.
then he'd hang up and then he'd get another call again about it. And it was one of those things that he wanted to be reimbursed if he was putting in hours on end for discussing things with people over and over and over again.
Which is happening. Larry spends a lot of time talking to him about what's going on in the restaurants and issues we have. So that's puzzling.
I called him and I can ask him again, but I called him and asked him and he said, no, there really hasn't been a lot going on this year and I don't want to put in for it.
So I guess I would ask if this is indeed coded as payroll, we need to understand why it's coded as payroll. If it's
Yeah.
not payroll, and
I
if he should be charging for time, we all thank him for, erring
Right.
on the side of not charging the town. God
Right.
knows. We also want to make sure we're doing the right thing in terms of he could win the lottery in a month and not be our health officer in 2021. So we want to make sure we're set up with a proper budget for a
Yeah,
health officer.
and this is the first year. Last year, it didn't make its way into the budget. We thought it did, and it never got calculated in. So this is the first year.
Matt,
I think for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to vote to add this to the draft budget, but I think it needs a little.
I'll get some more info for you.
Was that
Matt.
Charlie trying to say something?
yeah, I looked at it this way, 2,300, yes, he didn't use any of it, or very little of it, I guess. But what if he had to go to court and he had to be in court for 3 days on a situation in the town? That would be the money that he would get paid. So we should probably make sure that we leave it there just in case. And
Right, I'm not much of a just in case guy, but I understand what you're saying. So, all right. So there was a motion and a second. So I'll do the roll call. So Lisa,
Aye.
Kate,
Aye.
Charlie,
All right.
Larry,
Aye.
and Matt's tonight. So that's unanimous. So we'll get a little more info the next time we see it, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so I think without any further ado, I think we're back to the EOC update and Trish McCarthy, if you would.
I will. Okay, sorry I was late. I clearly didn't look at the whole agenda. So we usually start with our numbers. As you know, they're going up, which is unfortunate. So cases to date in New Hampshire are 31,875. Persons recovered are 24,591. Unfortunate deaths are 604. Current cases are 5,818. Hospitalizations to date are 862. However, current hospitalizations are 256. And then last time we spoke, I also broke down our school numbers. So our cases, schools by town, you know, in our districts. So Kingston is 40, Newton is 25, Fremont is 14, and then cases by the individual schools, Bakey we have 2, Memorial 2, middle school 1, high school 5, and the SAU office personnel, we have 1. And the actual number of current quarantines is 137. So not great numbers. So a lot of stuff on our calls. Homeland Security, lots of questions. And one of the questions is, we've been receiving questions about when a worker can return to the office after an exposure or reporting a travel risk factor. The critical infrastructure first responders are the exception. Quarantine after an exposure can expire after the 10 days. On the 7th day of returning to work from travel, a person can get a negative PCR test to get off the quarantine. Again, they remind us this exception does not apply to exposure to a person who was COVID positive. Under no circumstances should an employee be allowed to enter any of the town buildings when they're positive. The state fire marshal, Paul Parisi, had some comments and said, 2 new documents have been released on first responder quarantining guidance and first responder exposure algorithms. Director Mark Doyle of Emergency Services said that they're working on streamlining the distribution of this data that they receive each night from DHS, oh my goodness, DHHS, twister, the addresses of positive COVID cases. So we've got an issue with addresses. The fire chief and the police chief also know this. So they're saying, we'll make sure that they're attentive to the needs of those that access the positive COVID cases data. They're working on a horrific amount of what they're calling bad data, meaning post office boxes or wrong addresses. We're hoping, and he's saying this, that they'll be more familiar, or the first responders will be more familiar with their own community. And then maybe we could reconcile it manually, which really is it's very difficult for both the police and the fire chief. It's been an ongoing problem, and they said they're working on it, but it's certainly nowhere near perfect. They then asked for questions, and so one of the questions was, has there been an update on the first responder quarantine housing? And will it continue through the new year? Well, obviously, yes. And it will be available through the entire duration of COVID. So we'll be able to quarantine our first responders in separate locations if need be. Another question was, do chefs and cooks need to wear masks if they're in the middle of a restaurant, like an open concept restaurant? We get these calls all the time. And when I say we, I'm saying Larry and I. And the answer was yes. Those that provide service in a restaurant have to wear a mask. Another question was, does the state track ages of those who are positive? And the answer is no. They do not keep data on the ages of positive cases. Another question was, can a municipality adopt rules that are more restrictive than the state's? And obviously they always say, check with your town council, but they did comment that employers can require more. We certainly can be more strict than the state. Primex has weighed in with some recommendations, and I think Nancy shared that at our last meeting. It was updated again, and I think I've got that at the end of my report. They talked about if part-time employees who collect state retirement are still on a waiver, will that continue through the new year? And they're not sure. They said, we'll get you the answer. Another comment was, in a family, if one person tests positive, do the others in the household have to quarantine from the positive date or from the last positive? And the answer was, if the family members are asymptomatic, a person who is a caretaker must quarantine while providing care, then 10 days after the last symptom of the sick person. For complicated family exposures and care issues, they said work directly with infectious disease control. Another comment was, we have some policies in our town that are different than the health guidance, and it's less restrictive. Can we do this? Clearly, they weren't listening to the answer above. How do we identify who is critical and who isn't? And they said, you need to conform to the state's guidance. You have to pay attention to the emergency orders 72 and 74. You can make your guidance more restrictive, but not less. At a minimum, you need to meet the state health guidance, the 10-day quarantine, unless a first responder. Then you can test on day 7 with a PCR test. If no symptoms, you can come back to work. Again, it will be up to the police chief and the fire chief, and whatever kind of guidance that they want to put in their departments. In terms of who is critical, it doesn't depend on the hours they work a week, but more the nature of their work. So they don't care whether you're full or part-time. They're saying the nature of the work. Police, fire, EMS, EOC, and all first responders are critical. Are there any plans in motion to stand up any alternative care sites? And right now they said no, but they feel like this is a moving target, so they'll provide info as it comes in. A quick reminder that if you get any inquiries to your fire department, police department, or town hall about testing, they're asking that we please direct folks to visit nh.gov/COVID-19 and then click Get Tested button. There's a ton of information for people answering their questions, including a list of sites and maps. If after reviewing the website they can't get their questions answered, they can call 211 or the EOC. They're just trying to push testing inquiries to the website so it frees up our phones, which are pretty horrific. First and foremost, and this is not to be confused with any testing for first responders. Again, they're at the top of the list. Trish Tully from the health department said, we've received a lot of questions about contact tracing and the role of employers. We are working, meaning them, this is her speaking, we are working to put together a very simple guide for employers to reference when an employee tests positive. Everyone should have a protocol to quickly identify workplace contacts, such as looking at set schedules, our sign-in logs, etc. It's critical for contact tracing that we have to keep track of who might be in a town building, especially when all of a sudden they may have come in contact with a COVID person or themselves become COVID. She also said, Jen Harper said, if there's other things you want to see on what they're working on, let her know. It's a high-level document, and they feel it's important for municipalities to have something in place. One of the other chiefs said, when CDC releases new guidelines for close contacts, again, because they're working on this, will New Hampshire adopt that? And Trish Tilley said, we'll take it into consideration. We'll review and adjust our guidance if appropriate. Rochester Fire Department said, what is the limit for outside events in terms of people being allowed to gather? Is it still 100? A large group showed up with no permits, and other groups are going to show up in the future. The event in question I'm speaking about had over 500 people. AG's office commented and said, the performing arts venue guidance and restaurant guidance still note a 50% capacity limit. Not specific number, it depends on the venue. And restaurants, we were told, could be at 100%, but only if they could meet the guidance in the emergency orders, meaning the 6 feet distancing, the plexiglass on the bars, etc. Another comment was from a health official and said, what should we do when we receive complaints that someone who tested positive isn't self-isolating? Where do we go with this? And Trish Tilley said those complaints can be directed to, and the number is, if you see something like that, 271-4496. They have prioritized contact tracing, and it can make things a little bit more complicated. But if somebody has a concern, they can call. That number won't confirm or deny that an individual has COVID to the caller, but they will take the complaint to the next level. We had another comment that, and I'm sure the fire chief and the police chief and Larry know about this. So dispatch gets a number for a COVID protocol. In this particular town, for example, they say they've got about 5. However, the state site says they've got 17. They're saying, what are we supposed to go by? What about these cases that we don't know about? Jen Harper said, public health gets information, and then that information goes into the 911 system. 911 tries to verify the information. It tries to make sure the addresses are correct. Sometimes, however, the data goes in and out of the health database, and they have differences, as the fire chief has mentioned to Larry and I many times. He's sometimes not a happy camper about that. 911 has to figure that out. Mark Doyle at 911, Trish Tully and Beth Daly said they're discussing this, and it's really data driven. Evidently, they were 2 databases that were developed, and they were never meant to align. Boy, that's good for the government, huh?
Sounds like the government.
Right, typical state job. Oh God, I'm being recorded. There's a lot of manual corrections. It's not an easy fix. As the number of tests go up, that's going to create even more of a discrepancy. We're working with it, the IT folks, and they're trying to circle back with the health department. Doyle said, we take that information, correct it as much as they can, and then enter it into 2 different places. We anticipate that the additional antigen testing data will further increase their workload. So they're looking at options going forward. And again, got to keep us posted. It's a moving target. Steve Fournier said, so what are we supposed to look at? The larger number that we have or the smaller number? And Trish Telly said, for specific information, call Beth Daly. Again, we have current active cases maps which reflects the algorithm of 10 days and 14 days for quarantine and isolation. So they've got 2 maps going, completely different things. She said it's very fluid. When we get electric lab reports, we put it in the database. When we do our investigations, we sometimes find that someone may list their address in one town or even put in a PO box, and then they actually live in another town. This was a significant issue over the summer with people who have multiple residences. We had another person that commented on parks and recreation departments. They're looking to put together an outdoor skating rink and wanted to know what guidance is available. What should they do for outdoor activity? And the AG's office said, Matt Broadhead said, so that's a new question for him. He's going to take a look at it and get back to us.
All this stuff is like, we invent something new every day for this.
Right. Oh my goodness. Another comment was, there's a big push to write a letter to the governor to request that firefighters get the vaccine in the first phase. He questioned, are the firefighters considered for phase 1? And Trish Tilley from the health department said, we want to ensure that first responders have timely access. We're still figuring out those details and figuring out where those very first doses are going. There was another comment again about this saying, okay, has phase 1A of the vaccination plan changed? And Trish Tilley said the document online is a draft document that does put first responders in the 1A phase. We will have to make adjustments based on the number of vaccines we get. If people want to know, this was another question actually, people want to know what's going to happen to the Senate bill meetings. Any info on that? And Steve Buckley said they're putting together guidance for town meetings, and it will afford a virtual option for all our town meetings. I actually asked a question on this particular call, is there any kind of communication protocol that would allow the selectmen or the EMDs, et cetera, police or fire, to be notified about schools being closed because of COVID before the closure actually happens? If a school's going to close, do they have to tell the health department so that then maybe we could follow up somehow with that? It's a shame that sometimes we're finding about it on Facebook. And Trish Telley said in many cases, the decisions are made by the district, not public health. and it's a local decision. And I again commented and said, the district said that really they didn't have to notify us or Kingston, but do they have to notify public health? It seems that we're missing the connecting dots here. Could a municipality go on a site, this was again my question, to see if there is a closure? And Trish Telly said that they may notify us, but they might not. And they actually, because of this, so Matt, you'll be happy, they're putting together a new data portal, and it's all around schools. And they're going to look to add information about if a school is open on a hybrid or remote in hopes of helping communication between the districts and municipalities. So that was maybe good. On December 8th, we got some guidance. I'm going to just read a little of it. I didn't bring it all down for this meeting. It was a bulletin, and it's being issued to assist police, fire, EMS, and chiefs in deciding if a member of service needs to be self-monitoring, quarantined, and/or tested for COVID-19. While this information is most accurate at this time, the situation is fluid and subject to change based on factors including community spread, PPE availability, and statewide resources. Department heads, police and fire, are encouraged to use sound judgment and the principles outlined in this guidance to assess risk and determine if there's a need for work restrictions. It's only a guide and should not be used to substitute a chief's discretion or the advice of a medical professional. Towns, again, can be more strict, not less strict. Establishing signing in logs to ensure contact tracing can be followed in all your town buildings and should be kept in a safe place, should we need to look at the logs. Prolonged, am I still on? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Prolonged close contract has occurred when, so they wanted to define this. You are within 6 feet of someone who has COVID-19 for a total cumulative time of 15 minutes or more. That you provided care at home to someone who is sick with COVID-19, that you had direct physical contact with a person, like hugging them or kissing them. Goodness, I haven't done that in ages.
No.
You shared eating or drinking utensils with someone that had COVID. They sneezed, coughed, or somehow got respiratory droplets on you. Symptoms of COVID-19 include the following. This is again a refresher to remind us. Fever, cough, shortness of breath, difficulty of breathing, fatigue, chills, nausea, muscle, body aches, and/or headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, vomiting, or diarrhea. So there's a full printout of this that I'll put on the EMD page. They lastly reminded us, and I think I covered this in a meeting or two ago, to make sure that because we're in budgets, make sure we have built-in sanitizing of town buildings. The other thing that was brought up on one of the calls is if the town, meaning you, the board, is going to require somebody to get tested before they come back to work, if that's going to be a requirement, that in your budget you should put a place where it's going to pay for those tests. If you don't require it, we don't have to pay, but if we require it, we have to pay. And then about the local EOC, so I can see it actually on your agenda. You can see the EOC received a couple of grants. The most recent one was the $5,000 grant. You should know that we've used $4,769.31 of that $5,000. If we don't use the $5,000 up, we have to return the balance. However, today, Larry and I were informed that Larry actually has to complete a report by January 31st, and the process of him doing this report can also be put into this figure that we're getting reimbursed for. So that's good. We won't have to give maybe all of it, all of that $270 back. This grant, we had specific guidelines that we had to follow. We could only pay for additional labor that was over and above what we usually had working on elections. So we were able to cover the extra police and fire that worked, and which was good, and a couple of election workers. We can't pay for everyone because obviously we have election workers, but we could pay with the additional ones. They reminded us we couldn't put in for something we already got reimbursed for by one of our other grants, which we had to go through and kind of pull things out that we already got paid for. Currently, we are in review of, well, actually, we just got the FEMA #2 grant, and now we're on FEMA 3, which started November 1st. That being said, if any departments need supplies, contact Larry or myself. The feds are covering our supplies, so please don't go out and buy stuff. The EOS, they're also covering the EOC labor, and they will cover police and fire payroll for potential COVID or medical calls. So they won't cover it for like fire or accidents, but they'll cover it for medical calls that could be potential COVID. And lastly, the EOC shared the cleaning log with the selectmen to be used in town buildings. If that hasn't been pushed out to everyone based on our calls, we should make sure that the transfer station, the library, I know town hall has it and the police and fire have it. But if we need to get it to somebody, please let either Diane know or me know, and we'll make sure you get it out there. And that's it. Our numbers are up. Be safe, wear a mask, and sanitize.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you have more to report, like I said last time. We should apologize, though. I just saw the agenda. The agenda does say that the public starts at 7 o'clock. So,
I know, that's what but up at the top, it said 6, but I didn't read the top. I saw
right.
Right.
So our bad that the agenda wasn't updated properly. But thank you for sharing all that info with us. Just keep on keeping on, I guess.
Yep. Yeah,
all right.
Be careful.
So back to the agenda. And it looks like the next thing we have is venue for upcoming public hearings, deliberative sessions, and voting. I would, before I turn it over for discussion, I would put it this way. We need to know the final date to post for any of these, because I personally can't tell you right now where any of these should be, if you know what I mean. I need to kind of look at, as a voter, as a member of the 5 people voting, I need to know what the world looks like on the last day to post this to the newspaper or whatever. What's everybody else think?
You're not gonna know.
No, we're gonna know on the day we know. So if you're telling me the public hearing's on like January 18th and it's time to post, we have to post in the newspaper by January 11th. On January 11th, I want to make the decision. Because if
you have to post, okay, so it has to go to the newspaper for the January 7th edition.
Yep.
So that means it has to go out the week before.
Yep.
Which is in December, of the first week in December, right? Next, right after Christmas, in order to get it in there.
But I think we've already, the first one, the public hearing on, what's the public hearing on again?
That's your budgets and your warrant articles where you just take the input.
No, but there was another one, a public hearing for something else.
Oh, that one's to accept all the grant money?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, are we gonna have those on both the same days?
I don't know. I guess what I'm saying at the end of the day is, whatever the meeting is, I don't want to predict now how I'm going to feel about all the numbers and what's going on in the town in terms of COVID-19 until I have to. Does the board understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think pause it out and say that Zoom and hybrid is clearly the way to go. But
well,
I mean, hybrid is everything.
Right, but what I'm saying is I might not even want to do hybrid, right? If it's that bad. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, if our numbers keep going up, then we may not want to do hybrid at all, and just.
Well, you know
make
how
it
I'm Zoom until it's safe. I made that pretty clear.
But the other thing is too is correct me if I'm wrong, Trish and Larry, we don't have any, I think Trish just said it, we don't know what town meeting's going to look like yet. They haven't given
Right.
us that
Right.
direction. One would assume they're going to have something, but
That's right.
Well, I think January is going to be a bad month once we get to Christmas.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Most of your meetings going to be January to February, and
yeah,
they're probably all going to get canceled.
yeah.
Wait, but we have
Well,
the
our meetings
ability.
can't be canceled. The public hearings and the deliberatives, they can't be canceled. We have to hold them, which means we may have to go Zoom, virtual for these meetings.
Well, that's what I meant, Zoom meeting, no in person.
We could simply assume, say now to go Zoom, and can always, at the deadline Matt says, on the rare event something gets better, which I don't anticipate, switch it to hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna know if we can hybrid the first week in January, right? Diane, is that correct?
That's when you have to have it. That's when it has to go out into the paper is on January. It'll go out on the January 7th edition.
Yeah.
And because it's once, unless you want to do something different, you could probably wait till then, but it'll cost you more to publish it in something like the Eagle Tribune.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, do we have enough time for our next meeting to make the decision, or do we have to do it right now?
You need the next meeting, right now, your next meeting is January 5th.
Yep.
If you want it to go into the January, if you want it to go, you don't have enough time if you want to put it in the Carriage Town News. That's basically what it boils down to.
Okay, so for the board, what are you thinking? Because what Diane's saying is, like, whatever it is, I think we have to pay $30 for a paid newspaper.
I make a motion to conduct meetings in Zoom until situation gets safe.
Anybody want to second that?
No?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
Only because it's a little too vague as far as an ending point is concerned. But I do think at least for the next 30 days, maybe even 60 days, we may want to do Zoom.
I think my thing is, I want to know that hybrid work, and we haven't had a field test.
Right, I think we were planning on it, but then the numbers went up, so we went to Zoom.
Yeah.
Can we do a hybrid next meeting if 2 of us went to town hall and the rest did the hybrid? Is that what we're looking for?
I think so. Diane, is that what we're ready for?
Yes, that is what we can do.
So if myself
so.
and maybe Selectman Melvin wants to go to town hall, we'll sit across from each other 20 feet apart, and then we can try the hybrid part.
Just so you understand, that would mean I would be in the meeting with you, just so you know. It's not just the two of you, because the meeting has to be run from the main hall.
That's fine if you're good with that, Diane. I'm sorry, I didn't know who was going to be involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my thing is, I'm more concerned about the public hearings and having hybrid for the public hearing so people can participate, because let's face it, some people aren't comfortable with the Zoom aspect. So if the hybrid has been used and, you know, it's been put into practice, it's working, then we can advertise as a hybrid. But until then, we can't really advertise as a hybrid. So I guess, go ahead, Larry.
As a hybrid meeting, that allows any resident to come into into town hall to attend the meeting, correct?
Yeah, basically.
So would it be possible, I know if we get a bigger venue, like maybe get the high school auditorium?
You wouldn't have the technology, though. So you could,
Yeah, I'm not sure what they have over there. I thought Charlie would have known.
Yeah, well, remember, we're investing not the town's money, but the cable money to upgrade.
Yeah,
So-
and I'm never a fan of conducting town business outside of town.
I agree with you, Lisa,
Except at the transfer station.
except for the transfer station.
That's within the town.
Yeah, I know.
It is within the town.
I'm
No, he's
joking.
being a wise guy.
The transfer station is like the unofficial town hall. For
Yep. Right.
So there is a motion on the floor, so let me just do this to carry on. If we go around, roll call vote, Lisa?
So can we have it amended for 30 days or 60 days, some endpoint? That was the only thing that I was looking for. Kate?
I'm trying to think if 30 days is enough, given the numbers and the expense of all the, it's gonna cost to post if we change things. 40, how about
Right,
40?
and we can always extend it later if we need to.
Okay, so 30 days with this crowd.
Okay, I accept that amendment for my second.
Can we
Okay, so
repeat that motion?
Kate?
That for the next 30 days, erring on the side of caution and saving money, we conduct meetings via Zoom or via Zoom, including the public meetings, town meeting, if it occurs during.
Are we counting 30 days from today? Because the deliberative session is January 30th.
And the public hearing is January 18th.
Right. So we'd be covered with that 30 days for the public hearing, but we wouldn't be for
Okay.
deliberative.
All right, so how about till January 31st?
Thank you, good.
Yep, I like
Right.
that.
So we still have a second, Lisa, right?
Correct.
Okay, roll call vote, Larry?
No.
Charlie?
No.
Lisa?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
And Matt's a no, and I'll tell you why I'm a no. I'll make my own motion here, of what I'm trying to get to here, and it's a motion without a lot of teeth, but basically I think for the time being, we need to make these decisions on a case by case. So let me make it a motion. I would move to choose the venue for any meetings on a case-by-case basis, depending on deadlines for posting. Anybody want to second that?
I will second.
Okay, so I got a second. Any discussion?
The warrant has to have all those dates in it, and that is, has to be filed with the town clerk's office on January 25th.
Yep, there you go. There's a deadline.
But all this stuff has to be advertised as well in the newspaper.
And there's a deadline. So you'll provide us with those deadlines, right?
Well, we already have the deadlines because we have to post it in the newspaper, and in order for me to do the the warrant and everything.
What's the deadline?
So for the public hearing of
Yep.
January 18th, the deadline is January 7th.
Okay, so all I'm saying is I don't want to decide tonight what we're doing unless we have to, okay? So there's a deadline for each meeting, right? Because we don't post for all the meetings at once, correct?
No.
Right, so if the numbers are okay for the first meeting, then we're doing it all in person, you know what I mean? But if all of a sudden the numbers go off the rails and we aren't comfortable, then we make that decision for that. That is all I'm saying. And you guys just have to let us know what the deadlines are in terms of the meetings we have. It sounds like to me, it might cost us a few bucks, but it sounds like to me in our next select board meeting, we can give you a decision, correct?
Yes, and we'll publish it in the Eagle Tribune instead of the Carriage Town News.
Yep.
And Diane, what is the cost difference?
I'm not sure. I haven't done a legal notice there for a while, so I don't know, Lisa.
I don't think it's very much.
I think it's like $190 or something, depending on the size of the ad.
Yeah, I agree.
But Matt, we're really not changing the deadline. We're changing how we're holding the meeting, whether it's live or by Zoom. So
Yeah,
we
they're
should be all
just,
set.
Nancy and Diane are just saying it has to be in the post, right?
Right.
So we can't post for Zoom and then decide we're going to do it in person because it's already made it to print. You know what I mean?
Matt,
we
can I comment?
Sure, go ahead, Trish.
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to complicate issues, but
And don't
so
say it.
okay.
I'm on vacation.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So, so in my report, I said how they were working on some options. So, one of the things that I'm reading, it says that according to the New Hampshire Municipal Association, the annual meeting guidance, it's saying it starts out with in-person annual meetings and masks. For those towns that do hold an in-person deliberative or business session, NHMA interprets Emergency Order 74 to apply to those meetings, and in persons attending those meetings who cannot consistently maintain a physical distance of at least 6 feet from persons outside their household must wear a mask or cloth covering over their face and mouth. And then it gives us another link. It says, also other related voting issues. They're talking about drive-through voting, and they're saying temporarily optional town meeting procedures for a state of emergency. Towns, village districts, and school districts that are unable to hold in-person annual meeting in 2020 or 2021 due to the novel coronavirus disease may conduct virtual meetings in accordance with this section. At the option of the governing body, the town or school district may be convened and proceed to approve posted 2020 or 2021 warrants in the following fashion. And it goes through, you probably don't want me to read it all, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections that tells you, the governing body shall first hold a live virtual meeting. I'll read this first section. For virtual meeting and information session in which this proposed optional town or school district meeting procedures shall be outlined in this informational meeting and outline the warrant articles that are going to be discussed. At least 7 days prior to this informational session, notice will be mailed by the way, to talk about money, to all registered voters, distributing the procedures to be followed for conducting an annual meeting pursuant to this section. After the live virtual meeting, it is adjourned. Questions or comments from the public shall be solicited and received via electronic mail, voicemail, text message, or by other electronic means. And it goes on from there. It's pretty detailed. If you want, I'll forward this to all of the selectmen, so maybe you guys can talk a little bit more about it, although it doesn't sound like we have too much time.
Okay, yeah, that's something to consider, but I think we need to move forward as if the rules were the same as they've been for the last,
Okay.
20 years. So I have a motion on the table.
Did anybody second that?
I think Charlie.
Yeah, but Matt, does it really need to be a motion if it's just to make a decision, as time gets closer? I mean, when time gets closer, we make a motion to make a decision or to make that decision.
I tend to agree with you, but I'm just trying to get us over the goal line. I'm trying to get in the end zone here of this topic. But I tend to agree with you.
I'm okay. I think we just need the consensus of the board. I don't think we need a vote.
So let's do a vote and that's consensus. So since we already have a motion and a second, roll call. Charlie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Kate?
Nay.
Lisa?
Nay.
Matt's and I. So basically, as Lisa described it, we're kind of making our decisions as we go along here. So at the next meeting on the agenda, we'll have a decision as to how we want to post for that first public hearing, correct?
You're gonna have to, yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that we need to make sure it's on there. So. But
So then-
everything subsequently, we need to have on the agenda for the decision-making deadlines. So.
Okay.
Whatever else, if it's the, warrants and town meeting and all that stuff, we're gonna have to go step by step. But, so, next meeting, we'll be testing hybrid. If next meeting works, that's gonna give us a lot of the information we need to decide how we're gonna do the public hearing, as far as I'm concerned.
That January 4th meeting?
Yeah.
Or 5th?
Yeah. Whatever that is. If that works in hybrid, we know that hybrid should work. All right. So that was a long one. So the 2021 plow season rates.
I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion.
Okay. You want to give us a quick one on this, Nancy?
Basically, I don't have it in front of me. The plow rates are usually worked on between the bookkeeper and the road agent. And we also deal with the property Primex, I'm sorry, as far as the workers' comp. And I think that's all listed on that document. I've got it here somewhere. I don't know where it is.
On the screen, Nancy.
Not on my screen. Oh, there it is.
There it
Okay.
is.
Also, the fuel inflation surcharges on there as to what they pay for the fuel. Hold on one second. Diane, can you go down just a little?
It's not, I didn't share it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure who shared it.
It's me.
Okay. Oh, Matt, I see it now.
All right, I found mine. The workers' compensation figures are based on Primex snow removal. And also the road agent and the bookkeeper end up doing the with workers' comp and without workers' comp, as well as the rate for the per gallon. So this is the same thing we do every single year, the amount of insurance that the plow guys have to have.
Nancy,
Yes.
why are we doing $4.09 a gallon when it's only $2? And we're doing 4 gallons an hour? I can't imagine a pickup truck would be.
Well, do they use the diesel fuel or?
No, this is all gasoline because he's saying 89 octane.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Technically, what we're doing is we're giving $16.40 an hour besides the $56 an hour plus $2.04 an hour for an 8-foot blade. So we're paying them almost $70 an hour, over $70 an hour.
Well, I guess that's a Mike question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we need to.
Can I answer that question as a resident reading the document?
Yeah, you got to go sit in the audience though.
I'm in the audience.
Okay.
What I see in this document is that second sentence of the fuel inflation surcharge. It's any increase in fuel price over $4.09 per 9/10 of a gallon will be paid an increase. So that's just saying if the fuel costs were to drastically increase from the $2 whatever it is now to over $4.09, then there will be a surcharge paid in addition to the hourly rate.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But if it was in writing, it would definitely make more sense.
What do you mean? It is in writing.
That's if not saying that.
So,
Technically, the way I'm reading this is that they're gonna get $16.40 an hour plus the $56 plus the $2.04
but
an hour.
but Charlie, there's a benchmark using the 108 store. So if the 108 store is $2 a gallon, they're getting paid $2 a gallon. That's what I'm.
It's not coming across that way to me, that's all.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, it looks like the contract rate is $4.09 per gallon. And if it goes over that, increase based upon the usage of 4 gallons per hour, it'll be $4.10 per gallon, which is 4 hours for additional pay. So
So
it looks
no-
like it's $4.09 a gallon.
So I know nobody's made a motion yet, but if we make a motion with, you know, the qualifier that we need just a change in wording here to make that clear, are people comfortable voting tonight?
Can we don't have last year's rates, do we, Nancy, by any chance?
I don't have it in front of me. I
If you
don't
give me a
know.
minute, I'll go find it.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be great.
Matt, can you? Oh, never mind. I can do it.
Want me to stop sharing?
Yeah. Thanks. I'll just go to last year's. We should have it there. It would have been done around the same time, Nancy?
Who knows? That's the problem. I'm not sure. Did it start snowing early last year or later?
Had to have been in December, I would say.
I have it in my book at Town Hall where it's easily accessible.
That's why we should be in the town hall.
Yeah, I wish we could be, Charlie. It ain't worth it to me.
Do you want to go off of this and come back to it while I look for this
Yeah,
document?
why don't we do that rather than hold things up? So we will come back to the agenda. My agenda is reloading. Anybody get that?
So you have the contract for the RPC for the MS4 Technical Assistant Extension.
So what this is the board approved a contract last year in, I believe it was December, to work with the Rockingham Planning Commission, to work with Mike Vignali on the MS4 stormwater. And RPC's job was to do the outreach and educational portion for the stormwater and all that pertains to that. And we had a total of $3,000. And the agreement was that the RPC would do the first 1,500 and we had to pay it by a certain date, which we did. I think it was in March. And then they would finish up, I believe it was around, let's see, I think it was around payable upon completion, which was June 30th, and they never got to that part. So what we've done is because the contract ran out in October, so we asked them to just renew the contract for that additional 1,500 that we have this year to have them do the educational portion. And this is also on the encumbrance list, which needs to be voted by the board to encumber the funds from, I believe, the funds from this year to cover that.
To note, the link on the agenda takes me back to the snow plowing document.
Say that again?
The link for this agenda item takes me to the snow plowing contract.
All right.
Just no, it doesn't really stop us here. So it's, if I go into the folder, it's RPC MS4 TA extension is what it's called.
Yes.
Yeah. Nancy,
Yes,
when is that going to be done? Complete?
what?
MS4. That
That's
started in
ev-
2012.
No, that's every year that we have to do the reporting. Tricia, you can probably help explain that a little bit because you do a lot of it with conservation.
Yeah, it's just something we've got to do every year. I think it's due by, is it April or May 1st? I think.
September 1st, I believe.
Okay. And there's all the department heads really weigh in. I mean, Mike participates, transfer station. And we've got to explain what we've done to protect, I want to say, the town and natural resources. How, if we're collecting, like if the transfer station is collecting fuel oil, how is it disposed of? Mike has to talk about road work or culverts he's done. Everybody weighs in. We've been doing this for a dog's age now.
Yeah.
And then they changed some of the criteria, I want to say a year and a half ago, made
Yeah.
it supposedly easier, but I think it's more difficult.
It is. They require a lot more.
They do.
So our contribution is up to $3,000, correct?
Yes, and so we already paid the 1,500 that was due on April 1st. We paid it on March 3rd. So this 1,500 will go into next year's budget, I believe. I don't see it on the encumbrances. So it's a new contract to extend the other contract for that 1,500.
All right, anybody want to make a motion related to this?
I'll make a motion to extend the RPC MS4
TA.
TA extension.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. All right, roll call vote. Lisa?
Lisa, you're on mute.
She might still be in the audience.
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And Matt's and I, so that's unanimous. So the next one is the MS4.
Can I ask a favor,
Go
please?
ahead.
Nope.
When we make these motions, since we're working at home, can you put in the motion that you're allowing me to electronically sign these documents? Because this one only needs you, Matt, to sign.
Okay, do you want to, Larry, did you make that motion? Are you okay with that?
I'll accept that, yeah.
And
I'll
everybody?
accept it.
Okay, so we're all good with the acceptance. So let's put that for the future one. Looks like the next one is KV Partners.
And that's the same thing. KV does all the pulling together of the MS4. And there's a lot of criteria. This is federal, right, Tricia? Yeah, so we have the
Yes.
guidelines from them and we have to keep building on this to protect the groundwater and
Yep.
everybody's wells and that type of stuff.
And
So
we get
this is
fined pretty heavy if we don't do it.
big time, hundreds
time.
of thousands. Yep.
Right.
So this is, Mike's been helping us do this probably for the last 5 years. And we do budget for it, but this is his contract to be able to do and work for us because he prepares the plan and submits it to the state.
Right.
So this has already appeared in one of the budgets we looked at.
Many, yep.
Well, this year.
Well, this is a little bit less than last year's, but we do a contract. It's usually a 2 or 3 year contract. And this just gets permission from the board. The total amount is $13,500, which I believe is in the general government's budget because we have to file this every year.
Right.
All right, so you need a motion to accept the contract for the MS4 General Permit Engineering Assistance.
Second.
and sign
And to-
electronically.
Yes,
Sign electronically.
All right,
thank you. That one's you too, Matt.
cool. So Charlie's still a second, right?
Yep.
All right, so roll call, Lisa,
Aye.
Kate,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Matt's and I. All right, next one.
I do have the snowplow information if you want it.
Okay, let's go back to that then. You want to pull
Yep.
it up?
Yep, hang on.
So this is last year.
And as you can see, it's the same wording.
It is the same pricing too, I think.
I think the only thing that went up was just the compensation.
Yeah, and that does change.
So is everybody comfortable if we vote on this with, as part of the motion, to update the language so there's clarity around what Charlie and Larry are asking for?
They want to.
It seems clear.
So do
I think-
Charlie and or Larry, do you want to propose language to change here as part of a motion maybe?
I didn't think about changing anything, but I was really kind of curious because it looks to me like they're getting $16 an hour for fuel.
No, that's not.
How are you getting that math?
Well, because they're saying 4 gallons per hour at $4.10 a gallon. That's where I'm getting it. To me, 4 times 4 is 16.
Right, but so if the 108 store was selling gas for $4.10 per gallon, then this paid increase would be kicking in.
Right.
So you're saying that if, for tomorrow's storm, we'll say, if gas over there is $2.20 a gallon, that's what we're paying, $2.20.
That's what we pay, yes.
I wish it said that.
Right, so that's why I'm asking you, what do you want it to say?
I don't know how to, I really don't know how to put it.
Can we put it, going rate not to exceed $4.09?
Well, I think it says that, Larry. It says the fuel price over.
Okay.
So if that last sentence in that paragraph, if that was the first sentence, would that change your?
I think it all means the same thing, whether it's first or second or last. We've been using this form for years with Mike and Kim.
Yeah,
comparing.
I tend to agree with you, Nancy. I'm just trying to get the board members to be able to vote for something.
So Nancy, what do? Do they turn around and call the 108 store and say, how much is your gas selling today, before they turn around and write the checks?
It said it on here, 10 o'clock a.m. on the day of the snow removal, not the billing date. So that's the benchmark price is the posted price for the 89 octane on the 108 store as of 10 a.m. on the day of the snow removal, not the billing date. So the day of the storm.
So Nancy, what they do is they turn around and the payroll people, or whoever's writing the checks or whoever's making out the slips,
Yep.
basically calling the store and checking what their rate is for that particular day.
They don't need to do that.
Well, don't they have to turn in receipts with the billing anyway?
Exactly. So if I might be buying my gas from someplace in Haverhill, I'm turning in my receipts and I'm getting reimbursed based on my receipts. However, if there was some crazy oil embargo or something and gas prices were insane and they were over $4.10 per gallon at the general store, just as a benchmark, then this kicks in. Remember, you're reading the fuel inflation surcharge contract language clause.
Matt, you've already said the magic word.
Yeah.
Your slip.
What's that?
To turn in, that they have, I did not know that they had to turn in a slip for their gas.
Yeah, I'm
didn't
not
know.
making stuff up. Am I, Nancy? Is that correct?
No, I don't believe
That is
so.
not correct.
Okay.
The plow drivers get paid an hourly rate. They do not get paid an hourly rate plus fuel.
Mhm.
The only time they would get anything for fuel is if the fuel price was over $4.09 per gallon. Then they would get an extra 4 cents per hour for every cent over 409. And I know this because in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever, my husband has plowed for the town. He has never received a fuel surcharge because the fuel has never gone over 409 or whatever the rate was at the time.
That makes sense.
So,
All right,
thank
so
you.
that fuel charge is in that $56 an hour.
Yeah, so
That is correct, Larry.
I retract what I said, but I feel almost better with this
Yeah.
understanding.
And that's what I thought it was. Usually
Yeah.
an hourly rate for plow is for fuel and maintenance
Yeah.
of the whole vehicle.
So, are we comfortable in making a motion? Because we're going to be, there's only going to be 4 people voting because Lisa's currently a resident. So hopefully this will be successful.
I'll make the motion to accept the 2020 to 2021 snow plow. What do you want to call it?
Rates.
Rates. As written down here.
All right, anybody want a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kate. Roll call vote. Charlie.
Abstain.
Okay. Kate.
Aye.
Larry.
I'm going to do an aye because they didn't go up from last year.
Okay, and Matt's going to be an aye, so that passes. So
We add the electronic signatures, please.
yes. Larry, you cool with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Should be signed electronically. The board okay with that? Those who voted aye. All right, I think we can move off this one, right?
Yep.
You want to stop sharing, Diane? Thank you. I think we're back to the, looks like the, I gotta click over there.
So now it's your annual water quality monitoring contract.
Right.
Getting there.
All right, I need to step away for 2 minutes. I will be back.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So this is R.W. Gillespie, who does our groundwater monitoring at the transfer station. And he gives me a amount of what he says the testing per DES requires, how much it's going to be. It's in Pete's budget. And they've got between 14.9 and 15.9 for all the water monitoring in the transfer station. And then they're suggesting that we do an allowance of 5,000 in case there's a requirement by the state to do modifying on the groundwater management zone. So that to me comes to 21,000, between 20 and 21,000. Pete already has 20,000 in his budget. So we're fine with that. And they also test the houses on Brookside Lane for any contaminants due to the fires, to the transfer station.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been an ongoing thing for many, many years, just to keep us, and they do all the reports to DES, so that is good for us and gives us all the reports of all the tests. And this really only requires the chairman's signature.
So the line item in Pete's budget is for how much?
He's got, I think, 20,300. So his budget's already gone up quite a bit. I don't really see a need to raise it for another $500 or whatever. Because again, we're estimating 14.9 to 15.9. They're not really sure. And then the additional 5,000, which we may not have to use. But if we do, we need it to be there.
Matt, we can't mess around with this. We need to do this.
Oh, yeah. I tend to agree. For some reason, it's not coming up on my computer, but if somebody wants to make the motion, I think
I'll
we're
make a
all,
motion to sign the contract for the annual water quality monitoring.
why don't you have the chair sign the
Have
contract?
the chair sign that one.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Charlie. Any discussion?
You want it
Okay,
to
roll.
sign it, Matt, or you want it electronic?
Probably electronic if we can
Okay.
swing it.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you.
I don't think you want to see me for about a week.
No.
Well, I mean, I could come in, I guess, but
Well,
when
that's
you're
all
not
right.
there. But
We're doing all the others.
yeah. So, okay. So Kate,
Second, aye.
we'll take either one. So, Lisa, are you back?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
and Matt's going to be an aye. So that's unanimous. Moving on down the road here, we have another contract.
The next one's the impact fee letter.
Oh, sorry, not a contract.
I did get the money from the treasurer, and the amount that's going to the school for the impact fees for 2020 is $49,276.70. And this is, there's a school letter that tells me what the apportionment is for the bond, and I just need to have the board agree to let me electronically sign, and I can mail that check out to the school tomorrow.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, so these are recalculated, right?
What do you?
I mean, recent calculations?
Yeah, you talking about the impact fee itself?
Yes.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
just pulled those out of the bank. It's all documented with the interest, and it's already been entered into the school's tax rate portion, so.
This is the fee that was collected, not the impact rate. Just to be clear, because that's a different thing. This is the impact fees that we collect every year, and then we send it to the school for the school bond.
Right.
So the school sends us a request for the funds, then the board votes to submit the funds to the school to be applied towards the high school bond payment.
There you go.
So
right.
I will make the motion to electronically sign the letter to the Sanborn Regional School District regarding the 2020 impact fees in the amount of $49,276.70.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Charlie. Discussion? Roll call vote. Kate?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Matt's an aye. That's unanimous. I do have a question on, before we open anything and discuss it, why is Jay on here in public?
What?
Those are the current pay rates of all the employees.
Yep.
And we always have the board, this is my point in time where all of my numbers agree with the bookkeeper's numbers.
Okay.
So this is a starting point for us, since it's the end of the year. Anything that happens going forward will be on next year. But we can all agree that the rates that we have everybody at this time are what they're being paid.
Okay, so there's the thing. So it's specifically, these are the rates that people are getting paid right now.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not proposed
Nope.
increases. Okay.
Nope. This is just everybody's hourly rate.
So does anybody want to make a motion?
Do we need a motion for this, Nancy?
We usually do, so everybody's on the same page since I prepare it and I've checked it with the bookkeeper. I like the board to sign it every year so that everybody's aware of it and it doesn't.
Okay, so
fall.
it's just a motion to sign.
Yeah, yeah. To accept my rates that I've given you and the bookkeeper has given you.
All right, so I move to sign the matrix update indicating the current pay rate for town employees
Electronically?
electronically.
Thank you.
Somebody want a second?
Second.
All right. Let us do a roll call vote. Larry?
Yeah.
You're an aye?
Aye.
Charlie?
I'm gonna be an aye.
Okay. Kate? Kate, you still there?
Oh. Yes, I'm here. Wait. Yes, I. I'm here.
Okay. Lisa?
Aye.
And Matt's and I, that's unanimous. Okay, we have a review personnel policy update. Can somebody give us the Reader's Digest?
Well, this was a draft that was done over a year ago, but it was never officially approved. I believe this was the updates that the bookkeeper requested we added for the insurance. Is that correct, Nancy?
There was one thing or two things that she did do. It was placed on the shared folder with all the changes that were made. I don't
It
know if
slipped
any,
through the cracks, Matt.
yeah.
Okay. So just so you know, I know this is policies and stuff, but the first page is the wrong Board of Selectmen. If it
That
matters.
hasn't.
Well,
no,
that's
this-
why.
Yeah.
This is just the draft, Matt. I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
go and change everything if you didn't approve of it.
So I guess for the newer members of the board and stuff, what is the bottom line change?
I am looking for that now.
Because I see, for some reason, it's like a font of 3 on my screen. I see the red marking. Volunteers are required to fill out a State of New Hampshire Department of Safety criminal record release authorization form. So is that the only change?
I think there might have been a couple of others. Let me see.
So, I-
just employees.
So I have on page 1, there was amended February 5th, 2019, that all employees shall be paid in accordance with the pay matrix as approved by the Board of Selectmen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's a good one.
Matt, can we kick this one down the road until next meeting?
We really should adopt this. These were all done back in 2019. And the last update for this is February 5th, 2019. There haven't been many changes. It's been out there for quite a while. We really need to adopt this. 'Cause we're working off old ones.
I don't necessarily have a problem kicking it down the road. Can somebody, other than we should, does anybody have a reason to do it tonight?
We're hoping to get it done before year end.
Right, but it's not like it's a contract or.
Well, this is
something
the
we have-
policy that the employees have to follow.
Right, but there's still, I mean, to me, it's updates that are, that are probably necessary, but I don't think it's a showstopper. But
All right.
either
Can
way,
I-
if somebody wants to make a motion to accept it tonight, we can vote. If
Can
somebody
I
wants to
just-
make a motion to table it, we can do that.
Can I just say one thing before you vote?
Sure, go ahead.
The last update was June 4th, 2018.
Okay.
And it says amended February 5th, 2019, but that's the one or two that Jim and Lisa updated.
Yeah, it wasn't.
We're working off a
voted on.
2018 policy.
Yeah. Larry, you're on mute.
Hey, this is the first time we've seen Larry's face.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared, actually.
I see this.
He's got the whole, like, the flashlight under the chin Halloween thing.
Where is
I
So-
don't think he hears us.
So Matt, the only two changes I saw that on that policy is just the insurance and what I read.
Yeah.
Those are the only two changes that when I searched for 2019 showed up.
So it's that the matrix as approved by the board,
Yep, and then
the thing about the criminal background.
Okay, well,
I-
You didn't hear my motion?
I
No.
Yeah,
moved
you were muted.
I make a motion to table it to the next meeting in January.
to.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. All right, roll call vote. Kate?
Nay, I was trying to get in the motion to accept it, so I guess I'd be a nay to the tabling.
Oh, and I did find the information. It had to do with the retiree policy. That's something that we had to get in there. It was recommended by the Health Trust Benefits Administrator Workshop.
what page?
No, it's an email from February 1st, 2019.
Oh.
I don't know what page it's on, but health insurance on page 3. We added language to address retirees.
Okay, so we're doing the roll call vote. I think I only got to Kate with a nay. So Lisa?
Nay.
Larry's probably on mute again, but I know he's an aye because he made the motion.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah, I'm an aye.
Charlie?
Like, why aren't we, what do you all have against accepting it? Just, you want to read it more thoroughly? Is that it?
Now, keep in mind, this is information that was provided to us back in May of 2018.
For those
I
of
never-
you here, yeah.
And it has to do with New Hampshire RSA 100-A:50. So this is just our policy acknowledging that we are upholding RSA 100-A:50.
Matt, we finished the vote first.
Yeah, I know. Charlie,
I'm in favor.
you're in favor of tabling.
I'm in favor of tabling. Matt, I got to tell you my reason why, because
Sure.
I got it today.
It's been out for the last 3 weeks and
It has
4
not
weeks.
been on my computer.
I
have had a messed
emailed
up
it.
computer. You did not email that.
I most certainly did.
Well,
And
if
ask
you did,
Diane.
I don't have it.
Ask Diane. She, I think, also put it out there. Just
got
keep
it
in
today,
mind,
so-
just keep in mind, January's going to be very busy trying to do your budgets and
Well, it is
everything
what it is,
else.
but at least I'll be making a decent move if I vote in favor or against.
Okay.
All right, I think that was split right down the middle. This
So
is
you're the deciding vote.
it's great being the chair. So I'm going to go with tabling it. So I'm going to vote in favor of this motion to table it, but Charlie's got to raise his right hand and say that you'll be ready on January 4th. Is that our
I'll be
date?
ready.
January 5th?
Fifth. I'll be
January
ready.
5th. We'll vote on this, and this should be a very quick agenda item, I would think. So
Yep.
Diane will have that timer, the hourglass with the sands of time.
Don't you worry, I'll have covered it.
All right, thank you. Okay, so moving on down the road here. For some reason, my agenda always goes away as soon as I click on a link. All right, so we're going to...
Accept some money.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. Anybody want to make these motions?
I'll make a motion under RSA 3195-B to accept and expend unanticipated funds in the amount of $1,987.99 from the 2020 Election Assistant Grant Primary Election.
Second.
Seconded by Larry. Okay, roll call vote. Lisa? Lisa, are you there? Tommy, can you hear me? Kate?
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Lisa, one more time.
Aye, sorry, my VPN kicked out.
That's okay. Matt's and I, that's unanimous. You want to keep on going, Charlie?
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept RSA 3195-B to accept and expend unanticipated funds in the amount of $5,000 from the election COVID response grant.
We want a second? Seconded by Kate. Okay, roll call vote. Lisa,
Aye.
Kate,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Matt's and I, unanimous.
Okay, per RSA, I'll make a motion per RSA 3195-B to accept and expend unanticipated funds in the amount of $9,989.20 from the FEMA 4616 Public Assistance Grant.
4516, and I second that.
Cool, all right, roll call. Lisa,
Aye.
Kate,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Matt's and I. All right, any other business?
Yes,
Yes.
we need to do encumbrances tonight.
Okay,
So I emailed those all out to you. They're on the shared.
In the meantime, I would just like to make a couple of quick motions,
go ahead.
or one motion that will encompass both of them. So I move that per RSA 31:95B to accept and expend unanticipated funds to the food pantry in the amount of $350 from an anonymous donor and the amount of $100 from Leah and Lawrence Zurich.
Second.
Okay, Kate, how do you vote? Kate, are you there?
Yeah, I can. Yes, aye and thank you, I said.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye, and thank you.
Charlie,
Aye, and thank you.
and Matt is an aye, and thank you very much, folks. That's unanimous. Okay, I'm looking at the encumbrances. Seems pretty straightforward.
And just keep in mind, like we use the fire department, there's several different items there. He may not have all that money left by time we get to closing out the year and seeing what his budget holds. But as Kim says at the bottom, if you vote to only if funds are available in the budget at year end,
But I think there has to be some kind of a priority as well.
He did do a priority for Kim. She's got, I think it might be on his documentation. But she did request that, again, being probably the last meeting of this year, we need to encumber these funds. Otherwise, they're not gonna be available.
Yeah, and I mean, the key language, and Kim highlights it here for us, is the motion has to include, in my opinion, only
Correct,
if funds are available in the budget a year.
exactly, yes.
Yeah, my concern is what if some of the funds are available, but not all? Which encumbrances take priority?
Mhm.
So what will we encumber versus what we won't so we have a request for $49,825.07 total.
Mhm.
What if there's only 20,000 available for encumbering?
Then they won't get the other items. And like I said, Kim's already done the priority list between, I'm not sure, I know the fire department, I'm not sure about the police. They're the ones that have the multiple.
And I think what I need to see, and this is throwing a curveball, this is the first time I've asked for this, but I think I need to see in an email on the last day what we have.
What do you
So
mean?
that, I mean, I would vote for these tonight,
Yep,
but whatever that last day of the fiscal year is,
yep.
which, what is it, December 30th?
31st is a Thursday.
Okay, so I guess as a member of the board, would I want to see that morning or the day before, whatever Kim's comfortable with, is the final tally against this,
Absolutely. Yep,
you know, just an email.
yep.
And that way, if I see an email and there's a lot of red, if you know what I mean, we're in the
Oh,
red.
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
So-
Matt,
Okay.
we're gonna take
I
these
need to bring up my
individually?
point again because Nancy said that the bookkeeper has worked out a priority with the fire department.
They have told her, yes.
However, let's say we have 15,000. General government has a total of 12,000. So does general government items or one or more of the general government items take priority over fire department items? That's the priority I'm talking about.
No, it comes from each budget, what they have remaining in their budget. Right now, we've still got probably around 300,000, but we
Okay.
still have another payroll.
So we are encumbering from each department's budget
Yes.
only.
Yes, and if their budget is already overexpended, they don't get to encumber anything.
Thank you. That's the clarification that I needed.
Yes.
Yeah, so Larry, you were trying to say something?
Are we taking these on as an individual, not as a lot, correct?
Yeah, I think that was just made clear, right?
Yeah,
So if your general government and building has 13K left over, you're all set. But if your fire department has 0,
right,
not so much.
right. And that's why that motion at the bottom there, only if funds are available, that if the money's not available, obviously she's not going to do it because they can't.
Yeah, so it's not, because, I mean, the fact of the matter is, right, is we usually have money left over in total across the town. But we're looking at individual budgets for the.
Correct, correct.
So.
But you're
All right,
voting,
so in that case, I'd like to make a motion.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah, and then I think Charlie wanted to get in there. So Nancy, go first.
The executive budget is the 4,500 for updating the impact fees. I have that money in my budget. I want you to know we do have a agreement with Bruce Mayberry, but I need the board's approval before you know, because that's an agreement that the chairman will need to let me sign electronically.
Sure.
So shouldn't we be doing that agreement before we do the encumbrances?
Well, the encumbrance is how we're going to pay for this agreement, and I take that back. My name is on it. If you authorize me to sign it, then I will do that.
So that's not a big deal. We'll just remember that as we go. Charlie, did you want to say something?
yes, I did, Matt. Are we voting on the full 49,000?
I don't think we should. I think we should go budget by budget. What's everybody else think?
I was going to say, can I make my motion and then you can decide whether or not it works or not? And people can decide whether to second or vote in favor?
Works for me.
Okay, I move to encumber up to $49,825.07 with the amount specified for each department, provided that the funds are available in the department's budget at year end.
Right. Anybody want a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay, Larry?
So discussion is back to Charlie's. We're gonna do it, I wanna do it each department on what they're asking for.
Matt,
Yes.
here goes. We voted twice not to spend $5,800 on putting lighting in the Butler building. And if we incorporate all of these together, then I'm gonna have to vote no, because I've already voted no twice on that lighting. I think it's way too much money and I don't think we need it.
Yeah, I think with that one, if I recall, and this is just me and stuff, I believe I voted no because we wanted to see if we had money left at the end of the year.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, that's just how I voted. But all right. So Lisa, do you want to change anything based?
All right, so fine. Let me
So you're
do it
retracting?
one. I am going to retract that motion and I will do one for each department so we can take individual votes.
Okay.
All right, I move to encumber $657.72 to come out of the cemetery 2020 budget, provided the funds are available.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Roll call. Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt's and I. That's unanimous. Go.
All right, I move to encumber the sum of $4,500 to come out of the executive 2020 budget, provided the funds are available at year end.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Roll call vote. Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
and Matt.
I move.
Unanimous.
Sorry. All right, I move to encumber $32,431.11 to, let me rephrase. I move to encumber up to $32,431.11 to come from the 2020 Fire Department budget, provided the funds are available at year end.
Second.
Question.
Larry.
So we have a breakdown of that 32. Is that lighting out of the fire department budget for the
It
Butler
is not
building?
in the fire department budget.
That's general government. So, was that your only question, Larry?
Correct. I'm
Okay.
good with that.
So I'm just going to say here, let's not forget, somebody help us remember, we got to go back to executive with a motion for that contract. But, okay, roll call. Kate, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt is an aye, so that's unanimous. Go ahead, Lisa.
All right, I'm going to make this real easy. I move to encumber $5,151.24 for waxing the police station and fire station floors to come from general government buildings, provided the funds are available at year end.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Okay, roll call vote. Kate,
Aye. Well done.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye.
Matt's and I, as long as I never have to hear about floor waxing again.
All right,
So-
I move to encumber the sum of $1,500 for the MS4 permit compliance technical assistance to come out of the general government buildings 2020 budget, provided the funds are available at year end.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Roll call. Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye.
Matt's and I, that's unanimous. One more.
All right, I move to encumber $5,585 for relamping the Butler Building 5 garage bays to come from the general government buildings funds, provided the funds are available at year end.
Okay, somebody want a second? All right, Matt's gonna second. Okay, roll call vote. We'll go Kate. Kate, are you there?
I'm not
All right.
sure about.
Can we at least have a discussion about this first, Matt?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we looked at it, we said we wanted to wait and see, and we didn't use the budget building. That was one of the reasons we were looking at it before. However, the lighting in the Butler building is dismal at best. It's a safety issue as far as I'm concerned. This is why I am in favor of putting appropriate lighting into that building.
Have
First
we
of all,
already?
It's storage.
there's nobody in that building.
Right.
that it's just storage. So it's not a safety issue. The
Uh,
fire
it-
chief said last year he didn't need the lighting in there.
Right.
Matt, you had me do that requisition, said that Mike wanted it, right?
Yeah, but remember when we did that, and then there was a meeting, and then I think the fire chief or something came in and said, no, Mike told me he didn't want it. And then when I talked to Mike the next day, Mike said, it's really no skin. He really didn't care either way.
Right,
It
right.
would be useful, but it's not a, deal breaker. So,
So I was told that Mary Jo's trying to get a storage area down in that building. Is that not the case? That won't
That would be
happen?
storage. Should be putting stuff in during the day, not at night.
But you still need
I'm
better
sorry,
lighting.
people shouldn't have to use flashlights to go look for something. There should be sufficient lighting
It's
to
our
look
building.
through
For
the
the tone
items
of
in storage.
$6,000?
I agree,
So-
but how many bids do we get for this?
so I'm Nostradamus now. I kind of know how this is going to go. So can we just call the vote?
Yep,
All right. So I seconded, right?
yep.
Correct.
So roll call vote. Kate?
At present, I'm a nay, given potential financial issues from COVID. No, I would not necessarily be a nay forever.
All right. Well, tonight you're an A, right?
And I'm a nay, but it's not like never nay. Like, need a little more information. I'd like to see more bids. That's just a lot of money.
All right. So Lisa.
I'm an I.
Okay. Larry.
No,
Charlie.
No,
I was gonna be an I, but what's my math? We have 3 nays.
Correct.
yep.
Right. So the motion does not pass. So
But you have to vote, though.
No, we don't, only if it has to break a tie.
No, he has to vote. He's a selectman. He's a voting member.
So it's 3-2.
I voted. It might have gotten garbled. I'm moving right now, but I was an I.
He was a nine. He's really.
No, it was an I.
I know, it sounded like you said both.
So my math is
3-2.
3 nays, right?
Yep.
So that motion fails.
You need
Okay,
to go back to the contract.
yeah, can somebody make a motion for the chair to, or actually Nancy was on the contract, right?
Yeah, I can sign it.
All right, I move to authorize the town administrator to sign the MS4 General Permanent Engineering Assistance Contract.
Second.
Sorry.
Hello?
So are we,
I.
do we have a second? Kate,
Yeah, I seconded it, Matt.
right, I know. So Kate is a,
I.
so Lisa is a,
Aye.
and Larry,
aye.
and Charlie,
Aye.
and I think it's just me, so I am an I.
Thank you.
So we are good with that one. Are we? It's funny, the easy things take longer. What's next?
I don't know if there's any more other business, but you do have the manifest.
Yeah, right.
We do holiday hours?
Nope,
Oh,
you have to do the manifest first.
And then we had the hours for the holidays too.
Yeah, hopefully it's an announcement because I pledged years ago if we had to discuss what hours to be open on the holidays, I was going to resign my position. So I do have my speech ready to go.
So you want a motion on those hours then? Is that what you're asking for?
No, I think we're just announcing, right? We don't
Yeah.
have to decide.
Are you going to do the manifest first, or are you going into announcements?
Yeah, why don't we do the manifest? If somebody's got that handy, let's start running that down. I'm looking for it. So it's other, right?
Yep.
I don't have it, I do it.
So the first one is the vendor manifest, and in the amount of $148,379.32.
I'll make that motion.
So moved by Larry, a second.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Kate? Kate, are you there? I think we lost Kate. Lisa?
Here, I'm here. Aye.
Okay. Lisa?
All right, which vendor manifest was this again, Diane?
It's December 15th, 2020.
Okay, aye.
Okay, so that was Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt's and I. So, next one.
Lisa, do you have it up or do you want me to do it?
I can't find it on SharePoint, so I don't have it up.
Okay, so the next one is from the Cable Revolving Fund, dated today in the amount of $8,338.72.
So
I make
moved.
that motion.
That's an easy way to do it. Second, was that Charlie seconding?
No, it was Larry. I just so moved.
You so moved, okay. So we'll call it Lisa with Larry as the second. Roll call, Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt's and I.
Okay, the next one is for the Fire Rescue Station, dated today, December 15th, in the amount of $3,362.56.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Roll call vote, Kate. Kate, you still there?
Yes, aye. I don't know why it's not.
Okay, Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt's and I, that's unanimous.
Police Special Detail Revolving Fund manifest dated December 15th in the amount of $1,051.35.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt's and I, that's unanimous.
Recreation Revolving Fund dated December 15th, 2020 in the amount of $5,388.19.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Roll call vote, Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
Matt is an aye, that's unanimous.
County Tax Manifest dated December 7th, 2020 in the amount of $521,693.
Ouch. So moved.
Second.
Those county guys.
Yeah.
Roll call, Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie,
Aye.
and Matt's and I. So that's unanimous.
Forest Fire Manifest dated December 8th in the amount of $609.68.
So moved.
All right, Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye, but nobody seconded
Second.
Oh, I thought I heard a second.
it.
All right, I don't want to do the roll call again. So Kate was the second. Matt's and I, that's unanimous.
All right, so on the county tax that we just did, it was December 7th. I don't know if I said that or not.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Then evidently you guys signed the payroll manifest for pay period from November 29th through December 5th with a pay date of December 10th. Just so you know you did that.
That's just the announcement.
Yep.
All right. I finally get this open and we're done with it, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're back to the agenda.
Hey, Matt,
Yes.
you wanted me to remind you about the town report cover and dedication?
I think we need to do that in I'm not going to say not, but a different venue because of the, not that it's confidential, but we want it to be a surprise, I think.
Okay, all right.
All right, what else? How about the holiday hours? What do we need there?
So I want to make a motion that the transfer station and town hall, that they believe they're both Thursdays for Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, close at 5 p.m., which is 2 hours early. And the other one would be, well, I don't know what the town hall hours are now. Are they still there till 8?
Well,
No.
are these motions? Why are we motioning?
Oh, call it what you want.
So what it is Charlie asked me to put this on. The transfer station would like to close early on Thursday, December 24th at 5 p.m.
Right.
I think they want to do that for both December 31st as well.
Yes. And I wanted them to get paid.
Till 5?
All right, what does the
No.
personnel policy say?
Till 7. They're open until 7, so for the 2 hours each
No,
day.
the personnel policy regarding holiday pay.
But it's
What's
not a
it-
holiday.
See, there again, I haven't read the policy, so I'm not up to date on it.
Yeah, I guess I had thought, and I said it jokingly a few minutes ago, but I had thought we worked all this stuff out years ago as part of the policy, so we don't have to vote on it every single year. Did I not remember that correctly?
That's what I thought as well. That's why I'm
Okay.
looking for it now.
So
There's
just
something we
just
can
remember,
come
they're
back
not
to.
asking. They're just asking to close early. They're not closing down. They just
Right,
want to close early.
Right, but I thought we had that in there too.
I don't think so. I think it was just for Easter.
Yeah, lovely.
Favor of this, if we take them.
Well, while you guys are thinking of that, the town hall, the town clerk office will be closed on December 24th. And it just basically, we're just going to close the town hall on December 24th.
All day, Diane?
Yeah, they're the only
Why-
ones that get people in there
Why is town hall closing all day on that day?
because Mary Jo, the town clerk, is closing her office. They're not going to be there.
Diane's on vacation.
Yep.
But what day is it? It's a
That's Thursday, yes.
So if somebody needed to meet, I'm just guessing. I don't know what he's doing, but like the town hall is still open if Shanti wants to meet with somebody
Yeah.
on Thursday. If Nancy has to meet with somebody, I'm just saying. I realize it's COVID, but
Yep.
we're not closing the town hall.
Okay, so let me just read the policy regarding holiday compensation,
Please.
just so people are aware of what it is.
Yep.
So all of the above named holidays will be observed on the day designated by the state of New Hampshire, except for departments that have regularly scheduled weekend hours. Those departments will observe on the actual holiday. Holiday compensation shall be based upon the normal hours worked by an employee during a regularly scheduled work week. Saturday holidays will be observed on the preceding Friday. Employees with a Monday through Thursday work week shall be granted a floating holiday to be used on or after the scheduled holiday until the end of the calendar year. Sunday holidays will be observed on the following Monday. Weekday holidays, when an employee is not normally scheduled to work on a particular weekday on which the holiday falls, another work day shall be substituted for that holiday.
Lisa, sorry, can you share this on the screen?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Thank you.
All right, so everyone see my screen?
Not
Nope.
yet.
Nope.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
Remember,
Apparently
Zoom
I
has
don't
that
just
weird
select
thing.
the monitor, I also
Yeah,
have to,
exactly.
There you go.
Worst part of Zoom, by the way.
so the top part and the bottom part.
So the transfer station is open normally Thursdays till 6:45, and that happens to be Christmas Eve. Christmas Day falls on the 25th. They're not even open,
Right.
so that's not an issue.
And then they come back on Saturday, Matt.
Right. So they want to close
Yeah, 4:45.
At 4:45?
Well, yeah, because the 15-minute closing time.
Yeah, but they want to get paid?
Yeah. I want them to get paid.
Okay. All right.
So there is nothing in the policy that says we will close departments early or at a specific time on the day before the holiday.
It's what I'm asking
I know, I'm just saying that currently that is not in the
in
policy.
the policy. I understand that. Now,
I'm just saying the section that was amended 2 years ago is the one about the Saturday holidays.
So let me ask this. So December 24th is not one of the 11 national holidays, correct?
right.
Correct.
So they don't work. Nobody at the transfer station really works on Friday, right?
Right.
So am I reading this policy correctly, saying that they're getting paid for the holiday anyway because of Thursday?
Yeah, they'll take a floating holiday, a different day that they normally work.
Right. So if one, and I'm not saying I'm doing this or not, but if one were to vote against closing early, it should be noted that they are getting a floating holiday.
Right.
Right, so they could take that day as a floating holiday. However,
or any other day, they're being compensated for a full day's work.
Correct.
Yeah.
But this is letting the
But
general
what they're asking for is to be able to leave early, not have the whole day off, but actually close the transfer station so no employee has to work Christmas Eve until 8 p.m.
7.
Which is the normal
7.
hours of the transfer station.
7.
Yeah, 6:45 to be exact, I
2
think,
hours.
right?
Yeah.
So what if we were just to adjust the hours and have them open up 2 hours early?
Is that a motion?
It's a discussion topic.
I don't know. I tend to lean towards that. The only thing is though, and again, I can't believe we continue to talk about this like the week before it happens. The thing about it is they're not going to get anybody there. People are used to it opening at noon, and unless we shine it from the sky, they're probably going to not have anybody for 2 hours.
Then they can clean up or whatever. They'll still have things to do there.
I mean, that's true, but just a factor.
We're talking 2 hours for 4 guys. God, and they get paid $10 an hour.
I would say
It's not going to break the bank.
I would say in light of, we could, not a new policy, but certainly in light of the beyond the call of duty during COVID, I would be in favor of that.
Yeah, so what are we doing for the other town departments?
I know you were going to say that. I know you were going to say that, but
But I'm serious. I mean, if we let the transfer station go home 2 hours early and get paid, is everybody in the town hall getting that?
Can I just say Diane's on vacation.
Yeah.
Kim is taking a vacation day that day.
Yeah.
So it would be probably just me and Jim and maybe Shanti.
And your salary anyway, Nancy.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
And Shanti would
Now-
make a difference.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Mary Jo's office because Mary Jo is closing. So does Cheryl get paid to not be there, or does she use
That'll be her
PTO time?
decision, I guess. It's in her budget.
But I'm just saying, is it PTO time?
I think she applied for PTO.
Okay, all right.
But so if I'm
How about a motion that says the town buildings or town offices will be closed at 5 p.m. and the employees scheduled to work on that day will be paid for their full shift.
That's all we wanted.
Okay, that way it's not transfer station, it's
Are.
not town hall, it's
Good.
townwide. It could be the library, it could be the police department, it could, anybody who's scheduled to work after 5 p.m. Christmas Eve. We're shutting down the town essentially at 5 p.m. Anyone who's scheduled to work beyond 5 o'clock that day normally will get paid their regular day.
Anybody want a second?
Second.
Charlie's the second. Any other discussion?
What about New Year's?
Hold on, please. Let's solve world hunger and then move on to,
I'm good with making both days, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, as my motion.
yeah, how about Thanksgiving next year? And Christmas and-
No, they get Thanksgiving and the day after as a holiday. So even the transfer station gets that Thursday off.
Are you okay with that as a second, Charlie? Still
Yep.
make New
Yep.
Year's? Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to do a roll call. Kate?
I'm an aye as long as we know this is, like this is not a new town policy. This is just for this troubling
This
year.
is for 2020 only.
Good.
Right, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Aye.
Lisa, you're an aye, right?
Correct.
Larry?
Aye.
Charlie?
I'm definitely an aye.
Matt's an aye, so that's unanimous. So,
However, now that we've done that, if the board would be in agreement, I can make an amendment to the personnel policy so that we have something in place for the day before Christmas and the day before New Year's, provided it falls on a regular scheduled workday, that the town will close at 5 p.m. on those days, and the employees normally scheduled will get paid for that lost time.
Can we afford it?
Lisa, isn't that for next year?
I'm talking about making an amendment to the policy so we don't have to do this next year or the year after or the year after that.
Okay, because Christmas is going to be on a Friday next, and New Year's is going to be on a Friday next year.
Christmas and New Year's is on a Friday this year.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Saturday, I'm sorry. So you're going to close on
Again,
that Saturday?
town hall people are not normally scheduled. That's why it says if they are normally scheduled.
I'll second that motion for Lisa.
So it's not a motion, it's just, do you want me to update the personnel policy? And then when the update is done, we can review it, and then we can make a motion to accept those changes.
Correct, because when Christmas comes on a Wednesday again, they'll go home that Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that, Lisa.
All right, so I will make the update to the personnel policy, send it out, and we can vote on it in January, okay?
Yep.
But in the meantime, what we just voted on, it takes effect for 2020.
Right. And that's all I was asking for.
It looks like
Okay,
we
I'm
lost
good.
Matt.
Lost him again?
Yeah, we lost him again.
So
passed.
Larry, as the vice chair, you need to take over.
Okay.
The approval of the minutes. Woo-hoo.
Right, you have minutes from December 1st and the 9th.
I'm trying to pull up the schedule here, kid. So I make a motion to approve the minutes, non-public and public meetings dated December 1st and December 9th, 2020 as written.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Lisa?
And can I add electronic signatures to that, please?
Yes. And
On
if
the
any member wa-
non-public?
If any member wants to view the minutes, you're just gonna have to leave them out to get a hold of you.
They're on the website. They're on the shared folder.
Okay, so roll call. Lisa?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That's 4-0. And so the second one for non-public, it just says review That's still a motion?
No, that's
No,
to
no, it's,
unseal.
that's, if anyone has any non-public minutes that they feel no longer need to be sealed.
Okay, does anybody have any non-public meetings that need to be unsealed?
I don't at this present.
No. So
Okay.
now we can move on.
Now we go into non-public.
Oh yeah, you're gonna need to get Matt back then for that, correct?
Yeah, so what do we
Okay,
got
so-
left in non-public? Just the police department?
So hang on, don't say anything more, please. I'm going to stop the recording. Matt's coming back in, so just let me stop, okay?